Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Coffee Chat. We are so excited to be here with you today. And I have a new person hanging out with me today.
Hey,
at Coffee Chat.
everybody. Glad to be here today. It has been a while.
I know. So Meredith is reserved for special topics that do not have anything to do with medical or breeding.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not, if it's not breeding or medical, she wants to get in on it. But she doesn't do medical and she doesn't do breeding, so she don't want to talk about it.
I do the cute stuff.
She does the fun stuff. So, by the way, this is Meredith.
Hello, everyone.
You all know her from social media. I'm Sherry Smraya. And behind the camera, I've got Taylor. Say hello.
Hi.
She's barely showing up. You might see a hand every now and then.
Give him one. There you go.
Hello. You recognize that hand. And Will is behind
Hey, Will.
the camera. Hello.
Woo.
So we're all here today, and Taylor is going to be reading the comments. So if anybody's got a great comment, something that pertains to our topic, you know what? She can jump in and tell us what's going on. So do we have friends here already?
Yes, we do have people here, and we already have a question, but it is not pertaining to today's topic.
The topic? Okay.
What's
But
Hit us.
we may as well ask it.
Okay.
So they do want to know, they said, why aren't the kennels where you keep your parents ever shown? When we got Gucci pictures that they were available, we didn't get to see the mom and dad, which we do typically send that. So
Oh, yeah.
you can just ask for those.
Yes, absolutely. We have them, and it just depends on what we're marketing that day or what we're showing y'all for social media. So if it's puppies, we try to keep them separate. But if they're with their moms, a lot of times when Lauren's doing table pictures,
She'll
in
bring
the
mom.
nursery, she'll have mom right there, or she'll go in the run with the mom and show it. And on Facebook, at top where how you pin all the videos up top, the fifth one over, it's the last one, you can see me taking you on a little tour with puppies and some moms and babies. So
Yep, that's
hopefully
good
that helped you.
information for everyone. And
Yes.
when the weather is nice, we do
Yes.
parent videos and
Meet
pictures.
the parents. Yep.
But y'all just got to stay tuned for it. And you can search our videos on Facebook and type parent in, and you will see a ton of videos.
Absolutely.
It's one of the most popular things that we do, actually. So whenever we do it, it generates a lot of comments and interest. So we actually enjoy it. Okay, for the topic
Let's get
today.
into it.
Today, I felt like that it was very important, and I better turn this off. It's very important for us to talk about the doodle breeds because we all have 3 doodle breeds here, but a doodle's not a doodle. Every doodle's not made
Not
the same,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And there's so many doodle breeds in the world. Back in the day when I started my breeding program, it was almost unheard of. But now, this is almost 30 years later. It's like all kind of doodles happening.
They've tried everything.
Everything.
Every
Yeah.
mixture, doodle.
Yeah, doodle.
mixtures are out there.
But we do English Goldendoodles. We do the teddy bear schnoodle, which is a doodle. It's always a hybrid with a poodle, okay? So the poodle is the oodle in it. And whatever the front is, that's the difference. But what I've noticed over the years, and you probably have too when you're on social media and you've worked the phones before and things, people just kind of generally refer to Goldendoodles as Labradoodles.
Yeah.
It's so common that even some of our famous Goldendoodles that are out on tour with different people on stage doing different things, they'll introduce them as a Labradoodle.
Yeah.
And they're not a Labradoodle. I'm like, that's not Lucy, Gary Allen's dog. She has her own page, and it calls her a Labradoodle.
Labradoodle.
Like, we know she's a Goldendoodle because I don't breed Labradoodles, and she came from here. She's one of our babies, So, Taylor, if anybody has any questions, but what I wanted to do was just talk to you guys a little bit. Oh, and I've written a blog about this. So whenever you go to our homepage now, you can find our blogs, and you can scroll down and you'll see the link there, and you can go and read the blog. So I did write a blog about it, but what I also wanted to do was kind of go over this topic with you guys today. And I've got to find it where I put this earlier. Okay. So anyway, a Goldendoodle and a Labradoodle are created totally different, okay? The Golden Doodle was made with different breeds, the parent breeds, and that's one of the most important things that my blog goes into. It's talking about if you're going to understand what this dog is going to be like, you've got to kind of know a little bit about the parents
Where
and
they
where
came
they
from.
came from.
And that's totally different between
That
the
is.
two.
So go ahead, Will, and pull up the very first picture. And I am going to find out where my blog is. All right, so let's go to the blog, and I'm going to go through. Take a look at that, everybody. Have you ever seen that dog on the far left before?
No.
Do y'all even know what that is?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen a photo.
Seen one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that right there is called a St. John's water dog. And that particular dog is what was behind the very first, here we go, that's where I want to go. The very first Labrador retrievers. And these dogs were very much well-loved dogs. They actually created these dogs from a lot of other dogs in that area. And so let me tell y'all a little bit about the beginnings of them, okay? All right. The Labrador Retriever, known for its boundless energy and strong work ethic, originated from Newfoundland's rugged shores, which itself was a mix of local breeds and those brought in by European fishermen. Labradors were developed as fishing dogs. They were fishing companions. And their love for water, their friendly nature, and tireless work ethic, y'all need to remember that, made them invaluable to fishermen, yet their high energy can be a challenge. And so here's the deal. They were created for a purpose, just like every dog breed out there. They were created for something. And they were created to be companions to fishermen. And that's why we have so many around here.
Right.
Everywhere you go, you see them.
Oh, yeah. Hunters, fishermen,
Yeah,
all of that. That's
yeah.
the dog of choice, I think.
Yeah. Around this area, because we live at the bay. You know, we live like down.
Coastal community, yeah.
Like down by the Gulf. And then we have Mobile Bay right there. And it just seems like growing up, I mean, everybody I knew had a Labrador.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a lab growing up?
I didn't. But I knew a lot of people that did. Lots
Yeah.
of friends and stuff. It was like, I think it still is, isn't it like the number one?
Oh, yeah, it's one of the number
Yeah.
one breeds in our area. But my sister had Bama for 16 years. And Edie, at the same time, one of my dear friends, if y'all have ever come to the estate, the big brick house, kind of back behind the estate, that's Edie Lott's house. And when I met her, she had Angel. Okay, both Angel and Bama had one thing in common, and that was they loved to chew vinyl siding off of houses.
Oh my
and the
gosh.
siding off the house. And they both came home to finding their whole backyard like full of siding.
Oh, no.
And it's not because they're bad dogs, it's because they have a lot of energy, and you cannot just have one and stick it in the backyard.
No. They'll dig you a pool in a minute. They
They love water. They love that. So, you know, that was one of the things that I thought they're great dogs. And some of them have these. Go back, Will, and take a look at the picture. Look at the heads. They've got these big,
Beautiful.
blocky heads. But they do come in more of a variety of colors because the original dogs back behind them, I mean, they said in local breeds. And nobody really knows what the local breeds were.
Oh.
But we do know that one particular dog. He was made from local breeds. So I think he might be a hybrid. He's probably one of the
I'm
first.
sure, yeah.
You know, but interesting. Okay, now let's talk about the Golden Retriever, okay? Let's go and take a look at the Golden Retrievers. All right, the Golden Retriever breed, this is what we use for our Golden Doodles. We don't use the Labrador, okay? That makes a Labradoodle. But the Golden Doodle is a combination of the Golden and the Poodle. But take a look at where these dogs came from. I've got to read this. Okay, on the other side, the Golden Retriever with its calmer energy levels emerges as an ideal match to be complemented and paired with the poodle because it's calmer. When you have a Labradoodle who has higher energy and the poodle has higher energy, you can get a super high energy hyper dog. I mean, you can get that even in a Goldendoodle, but it's less likely, okay? On the other side, the Golden Retriever with its calmer energy level emerges as an ideal match for the spirited poodle born in the Scottish Highlands. I think that's cool. They came from the Scottish Highlands. The Golden Retriever was developed by crossing the now extinct, it was a tweed
water.
mouth. Back in the day, it was a tweed mouth spaniel, okay? But that is now extinct, and you can still find a tweed water spaniel. But the tweed mouth or water spaniel with the yellow retriever, and then, so see, is there like a yellow retriever up there?
Yeah, well, the golden.
Yeah, kind of like the yellow retriever. And also, listen to this, a splash of the bloodhound and the Irish setter were added to the mix. So when I look at that, I'm thinking, okay, I've had a bloodhound.
Have you? I love blood.
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah.
Trusty. We had Trusty.
Yeah, I love them.
And he was nose down, so he was a hunter. And then you've got that Springer Spaniel, which is a bird dog. All of those are bird dogs and like tracking dogs.
Yeah.
And so, and you get that laziness from that bloodhound, I bet.
I don't know. Yeah, you would think, but I don't know their temperament well enough. I felt like Trusty couldn't do too much without taking a nap. But.
No, he slept most of the day, okay? And so I think that is really cool. So this breeding aimed to create a dog that excelled in damp, rough terrain of Scotland. The Golden Retriever's elegance, gentle demeanor, and luxurious coat set it apart as a canine of distinction. So take a look. I mean, it's so cool to see. Now, the Labrador is a retrieving dog and also the Golden Retriever, and I think that's why people
Just
get
use
them
them
confused.
interchangeably, yeah.
All right, but when it came to creating the world's first English Goldendoodle, which is what I've done. Let's go to the next image and take a look. My goal was to create English Goldendoodles because look at the variation. The Golden Retriever does have a variation in the color of the coat, but it can be from blonde, like a golden blonde, to like a baby blonde, to that English cream white. Now, those white ones down low in that one picture, those do not show here in the United States. So when we were raising and showing the Goldens, we had to send them over to Europe, to Canada, and places like that, because typically dogs that win, Westminster and dog shows look like pretty much the dog on the top. That is like a perfect stance.
Okay.
But look at the head profile.
So they don't recognize the English white.
Not here in the United States.
Okay.
I mean, somebody might get out there and show them, but they would get a fault for that. But I love it. It's so beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
And from what I have learned from my experience, I've had American before. We were raising and showing them as well. There is a difference to me in personality and temperament from the English because the American are bred more for sport, like gun dogs, retrieving dogs. And the English seem to be more companion.
Okay.
They have a retrieving instinct, but it's short.
Yeah.
Their attention span is
They're
somewhat short.
so driven by just being around people. So social.
They are.
The most social.
And we are just loving Dobby Day, our
know.
retired boy. hanging out.
You talk about social.
He's so
I'm like, how can he show up
He
everywhere
gets
all
around.
the time?
He really-
He's everywhere.
Yeah, so the English Golden is the foundation and the groundwork for everything we do here at Smeralia. So when you're thinking about a Labradoodle versus a Goldendoodle, they might look very much the same, but as you can see, the Golden has a thicker, more full coat. I was actually looking up like stuff like vintage stuff on eBay because I'm creating a whole wall in my house with just all kind of dogs, and I'm so excited. But I was looking for like vintage paintings of golden retrievers and different things. And even in those, it would say beautiful oil painting on eBay of a Labrador retriever. And I was like, that's a golden retriever, because a
really?
Labrador does not have that tail. Look at that big plumey tail. And they have really short, coarse hair. Whereas a golden retriever has
Softer.
longer, more silky hair, and they both shed buckets.
Yeah.
But the Labrador sheds more. Even though it's got a shorter coat, sheds buckets a lot. And those coats, they're short and they kind of are prickly.
They are prickly. Yeah. You're never getting that out of your clothes or couch or
You just
they're the
gotta-
hardest.
Years after your dog has went over the rainbow bridge,
Yeah.
you will still find
them.
that hair. So I
sweet
think it's
evidence.
interesting to understand that. Will, did we have any other photos? Okay, so I wanted you guys to kind of have a visual today and understand the difference behind them, because our golden doodles, to me, they are the perfect combination. They are wonderful for family companions, for service and therapy dogs. But the thing is, they are more laid back. And I think that the Labradoodle is more driven and has more energy. So maybe for a service dog,
Yeah.
that's a great thing.
I think they definitely have their place and,
yeah.
and their doodle purpose. But I think you can even, in looking at them, you can tell, and maybe it's just a more seasoned eye, but you can tell if it's a Labradoodle versus a Goldendoodle. But I do think they both have a place, but you
Yeah.
got to understand the difference. A doodle is not a doodle.
Well, I can see like the eyes. It's the softness and
And the hair.
Yeah, the hair
The coat
is
is typically
softer.
different, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did have a question. Someone is curious because we've been discussing English retrievers, American. We kind of went into that a little bit. Someone said, well, what is the energy difference between just a golden retriever and an English golden retriever?
They are more laid back. The English is a little bit calmer and more laid back. They're also, sometimes I've noticed over all the ones through the years, they are broader shouldered, so they're a little broader. They can have broader heads, and they're not as tall. And I think sometimes the bigger and broader shouldered a dog is, it tends to be more laid back. That's just because they're big and they're just not as lean. I've also noticed, like, one of my first golden retrievers his name was Max, and he was very red. And that also is not acceptable in the show ring either. But I can kind of see where that red comes from. When you see behind them, you've got the Bloodhound, which has red, and that Springer Spaniel has that behind it. So I can see how genetically that's popping up. But those dogs, gun dogs, they are gun dogs. They go, go, go. Get the bird, retrieve it. Get the bird, retrieve it. It's like all day long. And so the American has a lot more energy. But one thing that I was thinking about, the English, with the golden retriever in general, a gun dog, and labs are trained for this too. When you can shoot a gun, and I've been at that shooting range recently, and they don't wear those head things. They're not out there with their little muffs on. They're just sitting there ready, shoot the bird, and they're gone, and they're going to retrieve it. And they're just not moved by it.
No, they love it.
I know.
The ones that are trained for it, and they're very smart and very driven, and that is their passion. So again, I think there's a place for all of them, whether it's the doodle breed or the lab or the retriever, the golden retriever. But you're making the point that people just use it interchangeably, like it's such a general term. So if, like, you want a Labradoodle, oh yeah, I definitely want one of those.
Yeah.
Not knowing, thinking it's a golden doodle, or because people say that still to me all the time. Oh, you work for that Labradoodle breeder. Typically, it's not the golden doodle first.
Yeah.
So understanding exactly what you're getting and where they're coming from. But I love the qualities of all of them and what they bring.
Oh, yeah. And the Labradoodle has been around much longer than the golden doodle.
And that's probably a big part of it too.
When I created the English Goldendoodle, I mean, that was like in 2003, very, very, very early, but I was already raising and showing Goldens before that. Labradoodles had been on the scene probably for 15 years before that, you know? So, and then, y'all, there's the Australian Labradoodle, like we have the English Goldendoodle. So there's the Labradoodle and the Australian Labradoodle. So we're the English. So, but I will say that those have more of a premium price. The genetics to import the dogs from Europe. I mean, for me, you just can't go. And I remember back in the day, you're looking in the paper, no internet, looking in the paper and where everybody would put their ads, and I'd be looking for retrievers. You would never find an English golden retriever in the paper back in the day. When I found my first one, it was in a Dog World magazine. It was featured, but it was out of the country. So I had to pay not only for the dog, but I had to import that dog into the United States. And anybody that's raising English Goldens or Australian Labradoodles, they're importing those dogs. So that's why there's a premium price attached to them, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the topic of today, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys were clearly understanding we're Goldendoodle breeders. Were there any other comments, Taylor?
No, someone just said, "Hi, girls. I love these coffee chats."
I do
So
too.
very sweet comment. We appreciate you watching.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, stay tuned. Go and look at my blog. Read the whole
It's
blog.
interesting. If you have time to just sit and read it, it is interesting where they all come from. And
And
to see-
learning. I
yeah.
love. So we're going to talk about this. We're going to compare other things. Like now we need to compare the Goldendoodle and the Schnoodle, and then the Twoodle and the Goldendoodle. I mean, it's so fun. And we have 3 breeds. And people often ask me, "Are you open for another breed?" I'm like, Carol looked at me and was like, please don't
Please,
bring another.
no.
I don't think when you're dealing with perfection, you can do much better.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's when you start getting messy.
Yeah. We don't want to get messy. We're not into
No.
every breed in the world. We're into perfecting our breed. Our Goldendoodle, our English Goldendoodle has its purpose. Our Schnoodle has its purpose. It's allergy friendly, low to non-shedding dogs. And of course, once you've got 2 perfect dogs, it made sense that they had such great qualities to come together and make one new breed, the Teddy Bear Twoodle. But that's it here for us, okay? All right, thank y'all for joining us. This was wonderful. We needed our own little coffee break, so thank y'all for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you
Bye,
so much.
guys.
See ya.